Welcome to the Daves of our lives. The opinions, comments, and views expressed on this podcast do not reflect the opinions or views of Dave, or any other Daves. All comments should be taken as parody and or satire. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Daves of our lives. I'm here with my co-host, Dave.
Thank you, Dave-O. Welcome. This is our interview series where Dave and my co-host, Dave, interview a Dave. Welcome, Dave G.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
He sounds
Fellow
way more
Daves.
gangster. Dave G.
Dave G. The OG.
The OG. Yeah.
We're glad that you could make it. Glad that we coordinated this. Before we do get in, I do want to put in a plug. And Dave, this goes for you too. But anyone listening, if you have stories of Daves, we have started a subreddit called aDaveInTheLifeOf, where you can anonymously submit stories of Daves that you want us to read and react to. So find that. Well, I'll link the subreddit in the show notes and the description of the video so that you can find it there easily. With that,
I would like
Go
to
ahead.
say with that, I feel like if you want to share a story because you don't understand a Dave, we could diagnose the Dave. Being Dave.
No. well, as Dave, not officially.
Yeah, we could be like, this is what's going on in his head, obviously. There's a
Obviously.
Dave link.
Yeah. We don't purport to
I'm
be
not gonna
experts.
claim that.
Yeah, we don't purport to be experts on anything. By the way, so Dave, I reached out to Dave G on LinkedIn, and not realizing who I was reaching out to, he responded with, "Do you remember me at all?" And I was like, "Do I remember you?" He brought up that we worked out together years ago at a CrossFit gym in Centerville
Yeah.
called Wasatch CrossFit. I remember we did what? It was a Filthy 50 we did a partner workout with.
Oh, I don't know.
I think we did one.
There was a number of workouts.
Yeah. They were just
Yeah.
crazy.
How did that make you feel that he didn't even remember working out with
Oh, I don't care. I think lots. There's people have different memories. So some people remember people really easily, and I'm one of those people, and other people don't. So it's okay.
But put in the face, though, with the event, I did remember after you brought it up. I was like, that's awesome. I did say we did, because Dave Neville, we also worked out. It was the same owners, same gym, different location, but it was Dave G and Dave Neville didn't have a crossover. They didn't cross paths at that point.
No, but I knew him
Yeah.
from earlier.
You knew him.
But you
yes,
guys,
but we knew.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Okay, Dave G. Let's start from the very beginning.
a very good place to start.
Indeed. Where are you from? Tell us about you.
So, sure. I grew up in Brigham City, Utah.
Wait,
So
stop. Are you serious?
Mhm.
Because that's where we both live.
We're in Brigham right now. That's why
Oh,
we
you guys
got
both
these
live in
peach
Brigham City?
chairs. We got peach chairs.
I don't think I'm
For
not
our
sure if we can see
Brigham.
them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
we have peach chairs.
because we're in Brigham City.
Yeah, I grew up there. So,
Where in Brigham?
I grew up on 5th North and 4th East.
Okay, so not too far from where we are right now.
No, that's
Just
actually
for-
super
A
close.
few blocks north of where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Few blocks west.
My grandparents were from a small little town, and they moved to Brigham City when my mom was young. And so, anyways, yeah, I have lots of family up in Brigham City still.
Oh,
We
okay.
go up there every once in a while. But
Brigham
yeah,
was
that's where I
the
grew up.
big city when his grandma moved here from the small town. Was Brigham the big city when she
Yeah.
came?
yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, they grew up in a small town where it's called Grouse Creek in the
Oh yeah. Oh, West Box
top of Utah.
West Box Elder County.
Yeah, most of the people that are in that town are all related. So, anyway, she grew up there, and then moved to Brigham City, and I was born in Salt Lake, but we lived in Brigham City, and so yeah, I spent all my childhood in Brigham City until I left and went to college and etc. So yeah, it's a great town. So I'm sure you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah,
You live there.
we didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up here.
I'm a transplant.
Yeah, Dave's from Texas. I grew up in Roy, so we both moved up here. You've been here a few more years than I have.
I've been here 20 years. We moved here when my daughter, like 6 months,
Okay,
probably like 5 months before she was born.
so she grew up in Brigham City.
Yeah.
We've been here since 2019.
Yeah, I mean, most people ask me. I mean, you guys probably know this now, but when they hear you're from Brigham City, have you been to Maddox? Like that's the
That's
first
the
question I
world
ask,
famous.
Every time they say that
Maddox.
to me, I go,
Yeah.
no. What are you talking about?
Tell me about it.
And they're
Tell me
like,
about
really?
Maddox."
I said, I've never seen that big restaurant with the Maddox symbol on the highway.
on the only highway that goes through town.
But if somebody's listening to this from outside of Utah, they're not going to know what the heck Maddox is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, anyone
but
from
yeah,
Utah knows.
I get those questions all the time.
That's hilarious.
Maddox reminds me of the Homer. I think it's Homer Simpsons. He goes to like a steakhouse and he like looks out the window and says, I'll take that.
Yeah. The Simpsons.
And that's what Maddox feels like, because you're sitting there and you're looking out and there's like some cows. Just
They don't
like-
have that anymore.
They don't have it anymore?
No.
Oh, then what's the appeal? If I don't get to point out the window
You
and
don't
say,
get
I'll
a-
take that one, what's the point?
And then Mr. Burns comes
Yeah, I
in
mean,
and
it
says,
started as a small ranch type of restaurant, on the side of the road, but it's growing a lot bigger now.
yeah. And now they're where the cows were. There's a bike shop there.
Yeah,
Electric bike
yeah, that's
shop.
right.
Well, it's all bike shop.
An all bike shop. They specialize in electric.
I've talked to
So-
the owner. He likes mountain biking. He's a big mountain bike.
His
guy.
name isn't Dave, though, right?
No, his name's Irv.
Yeah. he's
I
good.
do like Irv.
Irv's
Shout
good.
out to Irv Maddox, Pronghorn Bicycles. He's a good guy.
So, what is one fond memory of growing up in Brigham that you that you cherish?
Oh, so many. I don't know. We were always into mischief, just riding bikes around, breaking into like the gravel pit and messing around there. And yeah, we were always doing stupid stuff. It was fun though. I mean, it was back before cell phones, obviously, and all the internet we have today. My kids all, that sounds really cool. That sounds really fun. We had to actually go to someone's house to see if they were home. Couldn't call them, and so
Yeah.
it was, I don't know, just riding our bikes around, throwing snowballs at cars. We would
Well-
we would pour rubber cement across the road and light it on fire. And,
Oh my gosh.
Wait, would you
Yeah.
do this
You-
for like when a car came up and it'd be like Mad Max style, and then the car would like
Yeah,
drive
yeah,
through it?
I mean,
Flaming rubber cement
We
on
were-
the
Yeah.
tires.
yeah, I mean, it was in the 80s, so it's so much stuff that most kids would not do today. Like we'd get arrows and tape them up on the end and break off the point and then get slingshots and shoot each other. So totally safe stuff.
Totally safe.
As a kid.
My kids don't
Yeah.
understand 80s growing up, but I'm like, it really was. Get out of the house
Yeah.
and I'll see you again.
Don't
Question
come back
mark.
till dark, or make sure you're home for dinner,
Yeah.
something like that.
If I see you before then, it's because you've broken an arm.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't like just go do stuff. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Unstructured play.
I mean, Brigham City is no different than anywhere else. It's just, it was a smaller town, so we could,
Get away
get
with more.
mostly across town.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's like, oh, did you know everybody? I'm like, no, but a lot of people. I mean, it's big enough that you don't know everybody, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
small enough where you can get from one end to the other pretty quickly, and a lot of people there. So
Yeah.
then
And when
it
you,
expands to
yeah.
surrounding areas, Perry and Willard and
Yep.
Tremonton. So
When you get
we've
involved with the
decided-
community and you start to know, it's like any small community. The same people show up for the same events, and then you start to get to know people that way. So
Yeah.
it's definitely
Yeah.
still got that small town feel.
I would say probably one of the fondest memories I have. You guys probably don't know about this, but we would go out to Tremont, and this was when I was in high school, and in the middle of night, we would jump into this canal that you couldn't see the canal. So you just kind of had to jump blindly into this water in the middle of the night. You couldn't see anything and hope you don't die. And then go down the canal and then hope you also don't die while you're going down the canal. So we did that quite a bit.
Is this the canal that runs like right in front of the fairgrounds? Is that the same canal?
No, this is that canal. It's you couldn't get to it if you didn't know where it was, but it's to the east of Tremonton, in between Tremonton and Logan. So
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about, Dave. I have floated that canal.
Can you imagine doing it in the dark?
Have you?
Not in the dark, but I have, yes.
Yeah, I've been out there in the day, but never swam in the canal during the day. It was always at night. We'd go jumping at night. So that was something else we did as kids.
That's hilarious. No, I did it as an adult, actually. I am a young adult.
Not the dark, just
not in the dark. No, a mission buddy of mine, a mission companion. He and a group of friends, I don't know how they found out about it. He was living in Salt Lake at the time. He's like, hey, we're going to go float this canal. So I rode my motorcycle up there, and you're right. You would not be able to get to it if you didn't know where it was, because there's just like this
it's hidden.
Sketchy bridge that you got to get over. And I'm on my motorcycle on this sketchy wooden bridge.
Is this like a family-friendly event? We could take all the kids.
No,
and go do?
I wouldn't say so.
No,
you go right up to the dam, to the reservoir, and you jump in, and you just float down the canal. And there's cliffs. It's deep enough you could like jump off the little cliffs into the canal. And
the first time I went out there, I don't know how my friends found it. I don't even know who told them about it. I'm assuming it was passed down. Just like somebody like rite of passage. But, one of my friends, he's like, okay, jump. And I'm like, where am I jump? I can't even see. Where am I where am I jumping? So it was jump into this water. And so I was like, I can't even see it. So somebody went first when I saw it splash. And I was like, okay, now I see it.
A little reflection
you
off
saw
the moonlight.
Splash. You didn't hear screams. They said, I'm okay.
Yeah. Right. Like, okay, here we go. I can't remember how tall it was. I think it had to be, obviously when you're a kid, even a teenager, things seem bigger than they are.
It's probably 3 feet.
Probably like 15
You jumped
feet
15
feet? I don't know.
Were you like on the side of the hill, on the north side of the canal, and jumped off?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude, that's funny.
Hilarious. Yeah, we did it during the day, and I don't know what I got bit by, but I had some bites on my right cheek. I remember it distinctly. They were wicked. A spider bite from the canal. I don't know if it was from the canal or if I jumped through a spider web or something, but there were like 4 distinct huge welts from something that bit me, and it itched for days.
Just for clarification.
Oh, that's
what
funny.
cheek are we talking
My
about?
butt cheek, Dave.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
It was my right butt cheek.
There's only a couple of cheeks that can cut. When you talk about
you got
cheeks,
4
like,
cheeks.
4
I
cheeks.
know which one.
4. Yeah.
Yes. So, for clarification, that's where it was.
So you're a Box Elder B. What was high school like when you went through the high school year?
Similar, we'd drive out to Tremont and like 1 a.m. and go get breakfast or second dinner, whatever you want to call it.
Second dinner. From where? Where would you go? Where was open?
Like 2 a.m., we would go to, I don't know, there were always fights when I was growing up.
Of course.
So,
yeah.
There's some 2 guys fighting, one guy pulled a knife.
What?
Yeah.
Like West Side Story style?
Oh, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
The gangs of Box Elder County.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them gangs. They were like wannabe gangsters.
Thugs of Box Elder County, I guess.
Just for the people not from this area, Tremont and Brigham are about a half hour away drive, and they are rivals within the same school district. And the way you describe Tremont, it sounds like Las Vegas of Brigham. Like, you guys go there, and what happens there stays there.
Yeah,
I'm driving the main highway
yeah,
and got to go
was-
find some food at 2 a.m.
We would go and like we'd skip class, skip seminary, and go take our cars up in the mountains up in Manaway, and go get lost in the mud. And a couple times our cars would get stuck and we have to hike down. And what else did we do? We go take our cars to a couple places we knew, and go as fast as we could on our cars and jump the railroad tracks.
Oh,
which was
nice.
stupid in
Yep.
hindsight, but we do stuff like that.
On 600 North? Where would you do this? Or out in Tremont?
No, I think there was there was two places. There was one that was behind the high school, which I think they've kind of leveled that for the most part. And then there was one in Perry where we'd go. I remember with one of my friends was driving one time, and we hit, he floored it and we hit this road. And then I'm thinking we're just keep going. And then we land, and I'm like, wow, okay, we were actually in the air. That's the first time that's ever happened to me in my life.
As a kid, you never sit there and
I have lots of stories about mischief. I mean, I had a bull bike in high school, and we'd go out towards Thiokol and see how fast we could go. And fastest I ever clocked was like 130 miles per hour.
That's so scary.
On my bull bike.
On a bullet bike.
If you've ever gone that fast on a bike, it's not.
Once you pass like 115, it's like everything gets blurry on the side. Your peripherals all blurred.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars.
I'm sure there's been lots of people
really
that
the
are
hyperdrive
fast in a car, but
on a bike is so different.
Stupid.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Do you still ride?
I don't have a bike. I mean,
okay.
So no, I guess. But I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, we would try and learn how to pop wheelies. So we would take our ball bikes, and pop it down a gear and then pop it up and learn how to ride wheelies. So yeah, typical small town 80s stuff, I guess.
What else do you have to do?
So, siblings, brothers, sisters, big family, small family.
I'm the oldest of 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 sisters, 3 sisters, and then 2 brothers.
And were you fairly close with them growing up? Close with them now?
I was kind of close to my next youngest. I'm not as close to her now. She lives in Tennessee. And my brother, who's a few years younger than me, I was just old enough when we were growing up. We weren't that close, but we're closer now. So we talk quite frequently. Yeah. And the rest of my family, not so much. But yeah, my brother, he lives in St. George, and we chat quite a bit. So
okay,
I'm close to them.
Do you have any family left in Brigham, or is everybody evacuated?
Immediate family.
Yeah. My mom lives in Brigham City still. My aunt, my youngest brother, he's a half brother, and there's some cousins and stuff. Not first cousins, but like extended family that live there as well.
Second cousin, twice removed.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, what's funny is, so I met my wife. I went to Utah State and the University of Utah for college, and I met my wife at Utah State, and she said when she was driving through Brigham City, she was a military brat, and she grew up in a small town in Idaho, and she was driving through Brigham City, and she said, I never want to marry anybody from Brigham City, which we always joke about now.
Wait, she didn't know this at the time, right? Or did she?
Right. Yeah, This was before we even met. Yeah.
Oh, she just drove through.
Comment.
Probably because she saw some kids popping wheelies, and you're like, what kind of idiots does this place make?
She told me she didn't even remember why she said that, but she distinctly remembers saying that to her mom or her dad, like, oh, I would never marry anybody from Brigham City. And I think, I don't remember why she said that, but
how long into the dating until you said like,
By the way, I
I'm
grew
from
up in
Brigham.
Brigham
And
City.
did she immediately confess to this, or was this like after you were married and she's like, oh, by the way?
You waited till
I
you
think
get
it
married.
was. Yeah, I think I don't think I knew that until either we were engaged or we were already married, one of the two. I don't remember. But I remember she didn't tell me that while we were dating. So
Here's the funny thing about Brigham for me is that when I met my wife, she came up to Brigham, and I have a couple kids with houses here. And I'm like, I'm kind of stuck with the divorce situation. I got to stay in this town. And she comes up and she's like, I really like it. It reminded her of American Fork before it got busy.
oh yeah.
So one person, I'll never marry somebody from Brigham. The other one's like, yeah, 10 years later, she likes Brigham. So
Yeah, and I think it's different if you live there as an adult than growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
Right? And also like the experiences that you have as a kid probably dictate whether or not you want to stay in the city you grew up in or not, right? Like I still have friends that live in Brigham City, not a lot, but a few. And most people, I think most people, depending on where you grow up, they end up moving away just because of work, right? Because it's like in a small town like Brigham City, I mean, until recently, like you could work at Thiokol or Maddox or more, a handful of places, and it's really there's not a lot of places you can work. But now that a lot of people can work remotely, it opens up for a lot of small towns to get
change
people that can live there. Changes the things. Because growing up, it's like, okay, half the people I knew.
Do I want to go work for Nucor? Do I want to go work Thiokol? Do I want to work at PNG?
Yeah.
Or do I want to get out of
In fact,
town?
One of my best friends growing up, he lives in Manaway. His family owned a bunch of land up there and still do. And he's he's a rocket scientist at Thiokol. And he's worked back and forth between Thiokol and Boeing and some of the bigger companies. And yeah, so he has a bunch of classifications. And
is he still with Northrop or is he retired
now? No, he still works. He still works for them.
He's out at Promontory still?
I don't know how often he goes out there.
Okay.
I have no idea.
You only go out there when you want to.
I'll report back.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
When you only go out there when you want to make things go boom.
Yeah.
Like if you're an engineer working
that's definitely a
remotely,
ways out there. So if something does blow up, nobody's gonna hear it.
I mean, a planned boom. If there's an unplanned boom, you probably don't go into
Everybody
work.
hears about it if it's unplanned.
Yeah. So you decided to go to Utah State. What was your degree in? Like what led you there?
What led me there was my friends. I don't think I would have, being older, I probably wouldn't have chose to go to Utah State. Not anything wrong with Utah State. I just had different aspirations of what I wanted to do. So I went on a mission to Brazil before I went to Utah State. Came back, and then I went to Utah State. And then after I met my wife, we moved down to Layton area for about a year. And I finished up at the University of Utah in finance. That's what I graduated.
Oh, okay.
Was that what you planned when you first started going to school? Was your goal finance, or did that change as you were there?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew. So the way I thought about finance was I like math. Math comes natural to me, and I want to make a lot of money. So those seem to go together,
Math and money.
That's kind of how I thought about finance. I don't know if that's truly,
has that worked
reality
out
for most people. Yeah. And for me, it's not. Yeah, I don't do any. Well, I guess I sort of work in that area, but yeah, my aspirations were to go work on Wall Street and be an investment banker. If you ever see the old movie Wall Street, I was thinking I would go be a corporate raider. That was like, I want to do that.
Okay.
You'll think this is funny, but you also shake your head and realize that I was also an idiot when I was a teenager. but me and my friends sometimes would have extra cell phones, and we'd sit there sometime like in line, and we'd be like, no, hold on, blah, 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 and like just sit there, pretend like we're day trading to impress women. It never worked.
Never works. Not once did you get a phone number doing that.
Like buy, sell. No, click, like grab a different phone.
See, that just shows I'm older than you, Dave, because nobody had cell phones when I was in high school.
Yeah.
This was cutting edge.
Wait, Dave, how old are you?
Confession time.
How old do you think I am?
You look 38.
He looks young. He probably has
I'm
one of
45.
those.
You're okay. You're only a year older than
So
Dave.
much older.
A year? Yeah, you're 44.
I'll turn 45 in February.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys
Same
are pretty
age.
cose in age.
Yeah,
We didn't have, nobody had cell phones.
Well, you grew up in Brigham City, so cell phones didn't
Yeah.
make it to Brigham
Yeah,
City,
exactly.
City till like 2005.
the internet didn't get here till last week.
I don't remember seeing cell phones until 2001.
Yeah.
So,
To help you understand,
Yeah,
these
I
weren't
never-
working
I
cell
barely had
phones. They're like toys, practically.
oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured.
That's awesome. So you graduated finance. Where? How did you meet your wife? At school, we got that, but what's the story, Dave?
I just knew her roommates. It wasn't that interesting. So
So the roommate
I met her
switch.
roommates. Yep. Yeah, I knew her roommates, and then she
Had you dated any of
moved
the
in with
roommates
them, and I
before?
got to know her. No, but I did. The way we got to know them is I picked up on one of her roommates.
Way to go.
I didn't date her, but yeah, we became friends.
So how did you meet the roommate? You tried to pick her up.
We went to a lot of the youth. Yeah, we went to a lot of the Utah State hockey games, which were
okay.
super fun.
Yeah.
In college, and we met there. They a lot of them dated the guys that were on the hockey team, and so we met them at one of the hockey games. Became friends with them. Me and some of my buddies. So it was fun.
Nice.
Okay, now if we asked your wife, would she tell us the same story you just told about how you guys
Yeah,
met?
I think so. She'd probably tell you we met in an intersection, which is technically true, but it's because I knew her roommate, and then I went over to her apartment later that week or the week after and met her officially. So her roommate was just driving by, and I was next to her, and she said, "Hey, Dave, this is Christine," and so that's how I met her.
Okay.
You looked at her and you said, I could take you to Tremont at 1 a.m. and feed you.
You ever been on the back of a bullet bike going 130 miles an
Going
hour?
back to Brigham or Tremont was not on my radar. No.
So were you really aching to get out of Box Elder County?
Not necessarily. I mean, it wasn't like I wanted to get away from it. It's just I wanted to explore
Yeah. Okay.
more of the world.
I have a
So it
theory.
wasn't that I was dying to get out of Brigham City necessarily.
You have a theory?
I have a theory. I think that people that grow up in big cities seek small towns, and people that grow up in small towns seek bigger cities. It's a very simple theory. I have no data to prove it.
I live in Bountiful now, so Bountiful's
huge.
technically smaller than Brigham City, I think.
Yeah, but it's all connected.
Geographically or
Yeah.
population wise?
I think both, actually.
Is it really? Bountiful's got
just-
fewer
Yeah.
residents than.
Brigham
pretty
City's
sure, yeah.
19,000 population of 19,000.
Oh, actually, I don't know. I haven't looked at.
We
this
don't
since. I
fact check
know what
live,
the
but Dave, you might
population
need to
Fact check
that.
Yeah, I
Dave's
don't
gonna
know.
fact check live.
But don't worry,
Bountiful-
Dave will be
Brigham
right.
City can grow because
Dave is always right.
you think of I think of Brigham City and I think of Perry and
Yeah,
Willard,
yeah.
You know,
Well, and
It's
there's
like
so
all
much
combined
expansion. When's
and-
last you come up every once in a while, but there's a ton of new housing developments coming in.
Yeah.
Multifamily units, townhomes. There's a ton of that going on. So
AI gave me an answer, but it also told me how many white people are there too.
AI is racist.
It
we
is?
know this.
Yeah, it's racist. 87%.
So what,
And there's 45,000 people
so what was in Bountiful?
in Bountiful. So it's about double the size. Brigham doesn't have a lot of land left for development, like proper Brigham for population. So
Yeah,
I think we're going to be pretty tapped out.
yeah. Water is, I think,
Yeah.
the limiting factor. Okay, so you didn't end up in finance. What did you do after you graduated from University of Utah?
So I read a lot of Rich Dad Poor Dad books
Yeah,
when I was in college, you know. Um,
be your own owner.
and I hustled a lot in
Own your own
college.
business.
So even before I graduated, I worked for a hard money lender. I worked as a
Okay.
loan officer. And I did land acquisitions for a developer. So that was all while I was in college. So I was biased towards those things when I was graduating. So I kind of, as I was working with all these real estate developers, I'm like, man, these guys make really good money and they don't work 100 hours a week and never see their families like all the
Like
Wall
how
Street
the Wall Street
people
brokers
I hear
do. Yeah.
about. I'm not going to go do that. I'm going to work in real estate. So I graduated and I was working for a company in Park City called the Jack Johnson Company. And you hear about what they did, and it actually sounds really cool because they were the architects and engineers on the canyons, which is now part of
Oh
Park
yeah,
City Ski Resort.
Park City. Yeah.
And they also did golf course and ski resort designs all over the world. So they would do the architecture, the engineering, and then they got into developing them as well with partners. So I was working as an analyst at the Jack Johnson Company when I graduated up in Park City and working on a ski resort for a Native American tribe in Washington. It was really cool, you know? And I thought this would be super fun, like super cool business, right?
Yeah.
Well, they ended up getting purchased right before I graduated. And then I had 3 or 4 different people say, hey, Dave, we should start this company, all related to real estate. One wanted me to do, they wanted to do, oh man, I don't even remember. But anyways, I had 3 different previous bosses that wanted to start a company. So I ended up starting a real estate development company with a guy that I'd worked for at the previous real estate development company. He was getting his MBA from UCLA. And he had this idea that we could go partner with landowners and help them incorporate their land and get it developed. And then the landowners, or typically farmers would participate in the profits versus developers who typically buy their land and then they have the upside. So
Yeah.
we tried that. That didn't really work. So what we ended up doing was buying apartments. We bought 3 apartments, 1 in Bountiful, 2 in Salt Lake, and turned them into condos. So I did everything. I did the incorporation. I did all the contracts. I oversaw all of our contractors. And then the financial crisis hit.
Was this in
And,
2008?
Yeah. Oh wait.
Yeah. So this was, well, it was actually 07.
Okay.
Okay.
So right as
And
the
we were lucky.
bubble's about to burst.
Yeah, I remember my business partner. He was emailing me and say, "We're gonna, we're screwed. Like this is gonna kill us." And luckily, we just put our heads down and sold the rest of the condos, and we made a profit and got out. And we were lucky.
Yeah.
But during that time, his brother-in-law had developed some software to value real estate, kind of before Zillow got big, and he came to us kind of right towards we were finishing up, and he said, do you guys want to partner with me on this software? We built it for this purpose. It's not really working for what I built it for. I wonder if we can find a market for it. So kind of the opposite of what most people do, right?
Yeah.
Most people find a problem, they build software, right, for it. So we spent a few months trying to figure out a market for the software that he had built. We thought originally we were going to go to real estate investors, but that market was kind of small because we were thinking like, house flippers.
Yeah.
And then we went to one of the credit unions that was doing all of our condo loans, and we said, hey, could you guys use this? And they said, you could tweak this and tweak that. Yeah, we could. Like the instant agents was in here, and we have to market our portfolio. And so we developed a credit risk analytics software for credit unions, basically. We had a bank and a credit union, and they're very different. They operate very differently.
Yep.
And the credit union took a hold of it, and it was Mountain America Credit Union. So they were our first customer. And then that just kind of blew up. The regulators were basically selling their software for us. Every credit union had to mark to market their portfolio.
Yeah.
And we just kept developing it. So we developed it for all types of analytics and fair lending and some marketing. So we just kept developing it. And so we pivoted from real estate into software. So I taught myself how to program. I oversaw our operations and marketing, and I was flying across the country. I was going to like 2 or 3 trade shows a month, and we became the biggest analytics company for credit unions in the country.
That's awesome.
What was the name of that? If
it was called Visible Equity.
Is it still around, or?
No, so so I left after about 10 years and sold my equity, and my business partners, who we had several others that joined, they sold to a company called Encino in, I think it was 2018.
So some version of this software still being used by the credit unions?
Yeah. In fact, I was at a conference in St. Louis a couple months ago, and I was talking to this guy, about what I used to do. And he's like, "No way, you were one of the founders of Visible Equity?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Your software was amazing." He says, "I think there were several credit unions that I worked for that would have gone upside down and would have went bankrupt without your software." And I was like, wow, that's such a cool testimonial. Like, having built something from nothing, and, it's cool when you leave and you see how many employees, we had 60 employees when I left, and all the clients that you help. But it's really cool to hear someone come up to you and just say thank you for doing this and building this. Like, that was super cool. So that was
saved
cool
a bunch of jobs, right? Saved jobs,
right? Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, so that was really, really cool to hear. Just after I'd removed myself from the whole company, years and years later. So that was cool.
That is really cool.
I doubt this ever happened, but did anyone ever say to you, "Oh, I hated that," or some feature, like something that they were like?
I'm sure that never happened to me, but I'm sure that happened, because you never have a business where 100% of people are happy about what you're doing. I wish that was the case, but there's always somebody who's mad about something.
Yeah, it was probably one of the project managers or the devs that got that feedback.
Yeah,
or the admins that were installing it.
It was fun, and none of us came from the credit union space, so we kind of built it unique to how we thought it should be built, which I thought was an advantage, because most of the credit union space is a bizarre world. Like, let's say you two Daves have a credit union each. You'll share best practices for acquiring customers. You'll share like your strategy with each other. I mean, whereas banks, they'll treat each other like competition, which they are, right? Yep. Whereas credit unions treat each other like family.
Yeah.
I think of the credit union more like the hippies of the banking world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a member of a credit union,
a
not a customer of a credit union.
Yeah.
I've
worked.
And a lot of this.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, a lot of the credit union, their software, so they build software with each other and pool money, and then they'd buy the software and sell it to other credit unions. It's called a QSO. And so a lot of the software that's built in credit unions comes from people that work in credit unions. So they all think similar. It's like a lot of groupthink going on. So I think that's one advantage we had, is none of us came from that space. So we didn't think about
perspective.
How did you find that as the market for this software? Like, at what point was the decision point where you were like, yes, credit unions need this software?
Well, we just tested. We were testing markets for what we were building, and one credit union said they needed it, another credit union said they needed it, another credit union said they needed it. So it was just a snowball. Like, it it was just very apparent that they all needed it, and we
Mm.
just needed to tweak it to make it really, really good and make it sustainable and scalable, all et cetera, et cetera. So
Cool.
Okay, I'm very interested in what comes next in your career. However, I'm very also interested
that
in
you know,
knowing.
when I left,
Oh no, hold on. I want to go back.
yeah,
You said the farmer land development where you share in the profits, and you said that just didn't work out. Is it okay if I ask what happened, and like was there any?
oh yeah,
Because
we
it
just didn't get
sounds
that much
good.
interest. Yeah, it does sound good. But it's a lot like buying a business, and I've bought a couple businesses now, but the timing has to be right and the price has to be right. And even as a developer, when you're calling farmers to buy their land, they all want top dollar.
Yeah.
They all want, some of them aren't ready to sell. They want to keep farming the land. And so a lot of it's been years since I've done development. So I'm speaking on, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
when I was
Antiquated
doing
information. That's all right, Dave.
this. Right. Yeah. But, a lot of it's just timing. And so if we had a lot of prospecting, it probably would have worked. But, we didn't have a lot of money. I mean, I think my business partner, he was getting his MBA, and I think he was paying me like 25,000 a year, something, just nothing.
$1 an hour.
Yeah.
So and he was just coming out of his pocket. So we just didn't have a lot of resources to really go after farmers the way we wanted to. So could it work again? Yeah, I think it could. It's just the timing was off, and we didn't have the resources to really push hard. And so it was just easier at the time, to get apartments under contract, that most of people that were buying apartments were buying them for multifamily, and to increase their cap rates, right? Or to do value add on them. And we found a niche where we could increase the value more by turning them into condos than in the apartments. So we did that instead.
Okay, I have a crazy idea, which means it's not a good idea.
Okay.
But you're talking about farming and business opportunities. So you know how a lot of people like to homestead, right? That this is like
Mm-hmm.
for our generation.
Dave, just so you know, this is something that he has brought up to me multiple times.
Oh, it's a bad idea. But it's entertaining. So I think it'd be fun to set up like a homestead, but then Airbnb it for like a week, but make it an experience. So like things break and you have to like figure out how to do it, and then like birth a calf, like do the whole thing.
Like,
Like
a dude
city
ranch.
slickers.
Yeah, it's like a dude ranch. Like
Yeah,
city
slickers for like homesteading. So people that are like, hey, I think I might want to homestead. It's like, come here, live here,
Try
for a
it
week,
out and see if it's something
try
you
it
wanna do.
out, see if it's something you like, and have some, thematic events planned. Like
Seems
the
like,
pump fails.
they could get the same experience going to work on a ranch for a while,
Yeah, but the farmers, farmers, can't. We need a more controlled environment. We don't want to get sued.
You should try it, Dave. You should try it out.
I think this is like a subset of a subset of a subset of a market. And there's like 4 people that would want to be tortured on their vacation for a week.
So, okay. Did you want to ask what came next in the?
I would love to. I just
Yes.
needed to go back to the farmer thing. So I was just
Yeah.
sitting there bouncing
So
around my head. Like,
when
what
we
happened?
met, Dave,
So-
when you were working out at that gym, were you were you in this development? Where were you at that point? Because that was what,
No,
2015, 16?
So our software, it's a cool story. So, I remember when I left, I remember thinking like, people are going to ask me like, why would you leave that? It's like, you built this and everything's going great. And to me, there's, life comes down to a few choices, and you can make them how you want. But for me, it was like, I wanted to do something different. I felt like it was time for me to go do something different. And our business had grown into, my business partners, we ended up hiring a lot of their family. So it was almost like a family business that I wasn't a member of the family.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I found myself getting frustrated with that aspect of the business, and not to their fault, right? Like, maybe I would have done the same thing in their shoes had I had a lot of family. But it was to the point where, we had their brother-in-law and father-in-law and other brother-in-law and their cousin, just sons all working for us. And I wanted to do something different. I just was like, yeah, if I stay in here, maybe I'll make life-changing money when we sell, but really I don't like being mad and angry. And so I wanted to do something different. So I sold my equity, and then I thought, well, okay, so take a step back. What do I want to do? And I thought I had my choice of what I wanted to do, which I don't know if that's true, but I thought, well, I really like the outdoors. Like, I like skiing, snowboarding. I like rock climbing. All the outdoor stuff I like to do, trail running, etc., mountain biking. And I always liked apparel. And I was like, oh, maybe we can create like an
Outdoor
e-commerce
apparel
company. And I
company.
thought,
Okay.
yeah. So so I was doing consulting with startups at a local VC in Salt Lake, and I started an e-commerce company, and I hired somebody that worked at Black Diamond and did apparel design for them. She introduced me to a manufacturer in Colombia, and so I partnered with another buddy of mine who was big in advertising and branding, and we set up a brand called Knox, which stood for No Adventure Unexplored. And we were going to launch an outdoor apparel company that was similar, I think it was, I can't remember the timing of it, but seemed similar to like Cotopaxi, probably a year or two after. And what I didn't realize is how much more complicated apparel is than software.
Oh yeah.
So
what makes it more complicated?
SKUs.
Well, so you have to get like everything, right?
Raw material, right?
The raw material. Then you've got buttons you've got to choose, and sizing you got to get right.
It's
right?
Inventory.
And then importing. Like, so we had this manufacturer in Colombia we had set up, and they weren't good at the samples we got back. So we switched to China. And at that time, like the Chinese New Year was coming, and so it put off our timing of when we could launch a lot further back. So like the branding and the pre-sale stuff was going really well and going quick. Like we were growing our like we had a brand on Instagram, and we were growing that really quickly. But we didn't have any apparel yet, and so we were pre-selling stuff. Pre-selling is the wrong word. We were pre-launching, our brand. And then Chinese New Year hit, and like it would push back 6 months of when we could launch. And I was funding the whole thing, and I was like, no, this is not going to work. In order to do it, we'd have to go raise more money. And so I stopped doing that. And then so we cut that off, didn't do that any longer. I started doing marketing
You never produced any physical product and sold? Like you got to that point and it's like, I think Kevin O'Leary, what does he say? Take it behind the shed, shoot it.
Yeah.
Like from Shark Tank.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I had a team that I thought was like really, really good, and I thought we could make something work, I probably would have kept going, but it was costing a lot of money to do it. And I realized, one of my business partners, we were supposed to go to a trade show, and he's like, oh, I think I'm going boating on Friday. And I was like, yeah, that's not how this works. You don't get to enjoy the luxury until you've gone through the hustle.
Yeah.
And like, even if you can, like, you got to go, you got to sacrifice some things to make it work.
Yep.
So I just realized the team I had wasn't right. And so we shut it down. And then I pivoted from there. I started doing marketing operations consulting for startups and go to market. And I just hated it. Like, I'm like, this sucks. Teaching founders that don't understand marketing or tech, like why they need to do things, and they're already stubborn, is not my cup of tea.
Is it they felt like they already knew what they were doing, and were they were just pushing back on what you were teaching them, or?
Yeah, it was more just like, I don't know if we should spend money on this, and it was just this constant wishy-washy instead of, when you work with companies that understand their problems, they're just like, yeah, like we need to pay for this. That's a fair value. Like let's move forward and get this done. Whereas, every week we're meeting with these founders and they're wishy-washy on whether or not they should be moving forward on this or that. And I was just like, I can't, I don't like doing this
They're
at all.
it sounds like they're not sounds like they're looking for a lifestyle before they actually add value to their business.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was it. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do this anymore. So I from there it's like, well, I'd really like how to work internationally. All my work, up until then had just been in the US. With Visible Equity, I flew all over the country, like almost every state, went to a ton of places, spoke at a lot of conferences. It was super fun. But I'd never really worked internationally. So I thought, well, before I start another company, why don't I go work at a really big company and work internationally? So I had a chance to go run a team at a company called Sophos. If you guys have heard of Sophos, they're a big cybersecurity company.
Oh yeah.
They compete with like CrowdStrike or Symantec.
Yeah.
It's just they were started in the UK, and so they're less known in the US, even though they're still huge in the US. They're less known than some of the US based companies. So I helped run marketing operations at Sophos. So we had 5,000 employees. We had 250 people just in our marketing department alone.
Yeah, that's huge.
Across the world. So I had teams in Europe and Asia and Latin America and North America. So it was really fun. I got to work with a ton of different cultures. Like I learned how to hire and fire people in Germany, and Germany has like a works council where you have to get that approved before you can fire people. It's super complicated. France is similar.
It's like firing a government employee.
But I had team. Yeah, yeah. So, I traveled to Paris and Madrid and Bali and Bangkok and Vancouver. I traveled all over, which is cool to say, not cool to do that much. When you're traveling by yourself, where you have
it's not fun. It's not the same.
No, like traveling to Bali from Salt Lake was 30 hours. It's like go to LAX, then you go to, and we went to Sydney, then to Bali, and so after 30 hours and you stay there for 3 days and you fly back, it's just not fun.
You never
So-
like brought your spouse or like stayed longer, and like, hey, your spouse shows up at the end
because
of the
my
trip.
kids were young. My kids were young enough. Like we didn't have anybody to watch our kids really, and so yeah, never really did. I mean, since then we've traveled to different places, but not for those trips. So I did that for about 5 or 6 years, and then and I decided like the big company wasn't my cup of tea. Just getting anything done takes a lot of time and effort and convincing of lots of different people. And it was painful, just to get something done on our website was painful. Not that the website team wasn't capable, it's just getting it approved and getting it, competing priorities. Just working at a big company, you can see why there's a lot of startups that disrupt them, because they just can't move fast enough to get stuff done.
Startups don't have all that bloat.
I decided,
They also have less
when we worked
risk.
out, Dave.
Yeah.
When we worked out, so I was at Sophos, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. So like 2013, 2014-ish, somewhere around there.
Maybe.
Was that at the first location when we first opened Wasatch CrossFit, or was it over by the grocery store? Or were you at both locations?
It was by the grocery store, and then it was the
and then they moved
that place
over by the HVAC company.
Yep.
So this was probably 2014, 2015-ish.
So I was still, I would still be at Visible Equity during that time.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah.
and then So anyways, after Sophos, I decided I was going to go back into startups or something like that. And I read a book that kind of changed my mentality on startups called Buy Then Build. And so I started looking for a company to buy. And I bought the company that I run today. It's called Proven.
Okay.
And we do fractional executive consulting and back office HR and accounting. And then I bought a traffic engineering company as well with a business partner. So that's where I am today. I'm Proven.
Okay.
Was Proven the name of the company when you bought it, or did you change the name?
We changed it. So it was Proven CFO. And they did fractional CFO, and back office accounting. Mm-hmm. And so now we still do that, but we also do fractional HR. We do fractional COO. We do debt sourcing for companies, deal sourcing for private equity firms. We do quality of earning reports for companies that are going through M&A.
What is fractional?
And we changed that earlier this year.
Does that just mean like you need a COO, but you don't?
Yeah,
need
you don't hire a
employee?
COO or a CFO full time.
Just have like a fraction.
It's almost
of
like a contract.
Yeah. So my thought behind it is that, but my thought behind why I was interested in it is because with AI and with companies wanting to stay lean, it makes a lot more sense to hire someone who has 20 or 30 years of experience, but not have to pay a $400,000 price tag for that person.
Yeah.
And so, who wouldn't want an A player to help them grow their company who's already been there, done that? Everybody wants that, but most of them can't afford it. And in this way, they can afford it, and they're going to get better results than if they hired somebody that only has got 5 years or 10 years of experience.
It's kind of like a board, like a hybrid of a board member, like a working board member in some ways, where because you get the people on the board for their experience.
They also do work, right?
Yeah, but they're working.
They're not just advising.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're working and advising. Yep.
A working board member.
Do they? So do your customers? They hire one of your executives on like retainer, or is it like a statement of work that you provide or they provide?
It's all customized. So some companies are on a project basis. They need us to come in and help them raise capital for something. Some companies are on a retainer where they need a CFO and they need someone there, part-time. And so they'll be there helping their accounting team, helping them do forecasting. So it kind of just depends on what the companies need. Most of the time we start off with some project and then it develops into more work, because most companies, they don't really know what they need. It's kind of one of the blind spots.
Especially startups, right?
Yeah, and we don't work with startups a whole lot. Like we used to.
Okay.
We do still, but most of the companies we work with are like 10 million to 100 million in revenue. That's the typical size of companies we're working with, right?
Okay.
We just found that like the smaller companies, we can help them on the back end with a lot of stuff, but they just end up not understanding what we're doing. Because, it's like if you run a company and you have teams in accounting and IT and marketing and sales, you're not going to understand what the lower level people are doing. You're just going to understand the results at the end of the day. So, I had one guy when I bought the company, and he took Novell public. He was the CFO of Novell.
Oh, wow.
If you guys know who Novell is.
Yeah.
And he was just bored. So he wanted to work for a firm. He'd retired. He was working with us. Really, really cool guy. Love him to death. And he told me that when he was CFO of Novell and they took it public, that he didn't understand how much work it took by the bookkeepers and accountants and what he was asking them to do. And so we find like the same thing with small businesses. They don't really understand the amount of work it takes to get the things the way they should be. And trying to convince them of that is like a nightmare, because usually they're really bullheaded CEOs, to be honest. Like, I wish it wasn't the case, but if I sat down and talked to them, I think they'd understand it. But having some of our accounting managers talk to them, they're not as open to understanding that as most would be. Whereas we find the bigger companies, the CEOs are a lot more humble, and they understand the value
Interesting.
and they're willing to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just find the smaller companies, like the CEOs, most of the time are just jerks. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm just like, you know what? I have better things to do than work with jerks in my life. Like, I
Yeah.
just rather work with nice people that are going to be nice. And like, if you got a chip on your shoulder, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Go ahead, Dave. Dave, on a separate note, I would like to connect with you offline, professionally in some capacity.
Yeah.
So, but we'll chat after recording, for compliance reasons. but, but yeah, we'll chat. Dave, what question? What
I
other
want to
questions
talk with him in an unprofessional setting.
Yes, let's.
afterward.
Well, that's what this podcast is for. Unprofessional.
This is semi-professional. We have
well,
a logo.
Dave's
now.
a professional. Well, yeah, we're legitimate.
And uniforms. No you. So how long have you been owning and operating these two companies now?
So Proven we bought in November of 2023. So it's been 2 years.
Okay.
And the other company we bought in April of 2024.
Okay, so they're relatively new. What have been your biggest challenges taking ownership of an established company, and what have you worked through the past couple of years?
So the engineering company we bought has been pretty much gone as we planned. The owner wanted to retire. He ended up staying on for about 6 months as a consultant, was super helpful. He had a second person in charge that we now runs as the company as the CEO. And he's doing great. There's some things we need to coach him up on. But for the most part, I mean, that company's gone as expected. Not completely like 100% growth as we expect, like not 100% growth, but just the same growth that we expected.
Yeah.
So it's been a little, challenging in that front. But for the most part, it's gone pretty well, pretty smooth. Proven was anything but smooth. It was more of a turnaround than I expected. So culturally, we just had people that were not happy with the way things were set up. And, we had more concentration risk with clients than we thought we had. We just had to make a lot of changes, and changes with a service company are really hard and they take a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a software company where your product is what your customers interact with, because with a service company, it's the people.
Yeah.
And so it's harder to change those people, and what they're used to. Like we had a lot of companies that were way overworking. We were getting paid way less than what we should have been paid. And so it's hard to go back to somebody and say, hey, Dave, we've been working an extra 40 hours a month on your company. You need to pay us for that. Like, no, I'm not paying you for that amount of money, right? So it was things like that made it really tough. And, we're all a remote company now. So we had an office in Provo when we bought it. We didn't really need it. It was a really big office.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people that were there just they don't work for us anymore. But also we just didn't need that big of an office. And so we were downsizing. And now this is actually the last month that we actually have an office that we're paying for. And as of next month, we're fully remote.
How many
no
employees
office.
And are most of them in the Utah area?
So when we started, almost all of them were in Utah. Now, not very many are in Utah.
Okay.
So the idea was the guys that started the business that they would take students from BYU and they would train them on how to be accountants or how to be bookkeepers, then how to be accountants, then how to be controllers, and then how to be CFOs. It worked for like one or two people, didn't work for most people. And it was causing like friction because the CFOs wouldn't have the full-time people that they needed. to actually do the work that they wanted done. So they'd end up filling that in. And so that was a big frustrating point when we bought it was, that was one of the first things they said is we need full-time bookkeepers and we only got part-time because they're going to school.
Yeah.
And then they have competing priorities, as a student. It's like, what do I choose? Do I choose this job that I really like? Or do I choose school? And they're all going to choose school at the end of the day because that's their future, right? So that was one of the first changes we made is swapping out the students. And then the other thing is most companies don't want a CFO that's trained academically but doesn't have the experience, right? So most companies want a CFO that has been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
And so we realized that, and so we started recruiting people with really good experience, that had taken companies public, had helped them go from $0 to $500 million, has helped help companies raise capital, has helped companies go international. So we started looking for people that were really, really good that anybody would die to have as one of their employees and work with them and help them grow. And so, making those changes are just tough, new structure, new pay structure, new teams. Software hasn't changed a whole lot. Like we have some changes, but mostly the same. Working in an office where you're used to having everybody sit around you, and saying hi to a remote environment is different. Now, when I worked at Sophos, the thing I liked about that is I had team members in 7 different time zones, right? So sometimes I'd have meetings at 5 a.m. with people in Europe, and then I'd have meetings at 7 p.m. with people in Australia, right? So I learned how to work remotely and what made that successful, which we're trying to incorporate. It's a little harder when you're this small, with some of the things like in-person meetings. It's a lot easier when you're an $8 billion company or $5 billion company. You have cash to spend on those things. Whereas when you're a small company like us, it's a lot harder. So, but I did learn a lot of the tools that worked for working remote. And so we implement a lot of those.
How many employees did you already ask how many employees?
I don't know if he answered.
No, he did ask. I didn't answer. So we have
intentionally. He's avoiding
about 30 between contractors and employees.
Oh, okay.
I would like to ask you a question on the type of people you were talking that you're recruiting. They're like rock stars in their individual fields. Is the appeal for them to come work for you because they don't want to work full time and this is like part time for them, and they want time more than money?
That's typically it. Yeah. And the reason it works is because as you get further into your career and you have enough experience, most of these people they don't need money to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
They are doing this because they like to work, right? And they like to help companies grow. And they don't want to have something where they need to be there all the time and work 40 or 60 or 80 hours and just have the company dictate how much time, they're working. Whereas a company like us, they can still make really good money, but they can choose if they don't want to work on a new project. They can choose if they want to take a month off. It's not going to matter, right? So they just get a lot more flexibility and a lot more freedom than they would working full time. And they get exposure to a lot of different companies. Whereas you might work for a company for 10 years and your whole experience is of that one company, right? And one way of doing things. Whereas if you're working for 5 or 6 companies, you're getting exposure to different personality types, you're getting exposure to different processes, different systems, maybe different currencies, different locations. And so they're just broader and deeper in their experience working for us than they would working for one company.
Are there specific industries or not specific, but do you see a trend in industries that you typically work with or you have your employees working with?
So there's a lot of companies like us.
Okay.
Not exactly like us, but there are a lot of companies. And so, pretty much any industry that you could think of, biotech, attorneys, e-commerce, manufacturing, dentists, medical, like there are companies that specialize in some of these. There's some companies that are generalist, right? We tend to be more generalist right now. although I could see us specializing into smaller niches as time goes on. Like right now, we tend to work with a lot of home service companies. So HVAC contractors, plumbers, roofers, landscapers. We also work with tech companies, but not as much as we used to. And we work with private equity companies and their portfolio companies. So private equity company might come to us and say, hey, we've got this new company that we just purchased and we need somebody to do the accounting on it.
Okay.
You know, or
yeah.
we want these books to match the rest of our portfolio companies so that we have a general ledger that it rolls up to, and they all match, so we don't have to spend a lot of time going through each individual portfolio company.
You said that you don't work with really startups. Is there, and you gave a range of what the typical revenue of a company you work with is, but is there a minimum? Do you have minimums of a company's revenue that you would work with?
Not yet. I mean, we do work with some small companies. Like there's a few companies that really we only spend a few hours a month on, and you know, it's like $1,000 a month, so it's not much. But we typically don't like to work with a lot of those companies because it's not that we mind the time or mind the revenue. Those are great, but the mismatch between the ones that come to us that really only require that amount of work and the ones that really require 2 or 3 times that amount of work is a lot.
Okay.
And so the ones that do only require that amount of work, they're great because our interests are aligned. The ones that are hard are really just trying to save a buck, and they don't realize how much work it really takes to do it.
Yeah.
And that's sad because they get frustrated, we get frustrated, and they just have unrealistic expectations at the end of the day. And if they'd sit, you know, if I could sit down with them and explain to them, I think they'd understand it. Doesn't mean they're reasonable people, but that's what I said. Like at the end of the day, like that's why we work with bigger companies, because smaller companies, a lot of times they just don't understand the things that it takes to do things right? Whether that's operational, with accounting, with finance, with marketing, it doesn't really matter. They just want things done in a certain time and they want to pay a certain price. And, you know, those don't always line up. Like, it's like you get what you pay for. And if you want to pay for the best people and you want to pay for the best processes and systems, you need to pay for that. And if you want to try and skimp by, like you're just going to be in constant chaos and it's just not fun for anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So what I'm hearing is when we make it, when this podcast goes from losing money / hobby to big dollars, thousands of dollars, we come to you.
Thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars. We can come to you and see if there's anybody that would like to do it for like charity.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
You don't have a certain amount of what you do pro bono, do you?
No, we
don't. Okay.
We're not big enough. Maybe someday. Yeah, we don't.
Well, by the time we make money, you're going to be big enough. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
if we make money.
We have no plans of making money.
We got hats. That's about the only compensation we've gotten for doing the podcast.
You got some sweet hats.
But you said you've done multiple podcasts in the last month?
I have, yeah. Mostly about buy and proven.
Okay.
I guess the other ones weren't necessarily about buy and proven. Yeah, I mean, one in particular that's about buying businesses, and he has guests on people that go through buying companies, and I've known him for a while, and we were talking at a conference, and I was speaking at the conference about this, and so he wanted me to speak on his podcast.
Cool.
See, that's very different because, like, he came to you because he saw something that you had, some value that you had. And we literally just picked you out of your name. No, I said, but he didn't even choose his own name. You were given this name, and we find value.
Well, he was a David at one point. You heard him share the stories of growing up in Brigham City. That was when he was David.
A David. He's Dave now. Anything stupid you've done in your life, it's David.
I should say most people always called me Dave.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, my legal name is David, but the only people that really call me David are my mom and yeah, nobody else really.
That seems to be a common theme among our guests is David was when they were in trouble or
Yeah.
the formal name, but most people that know us, it's Dave.
That is.
There's one
exactly
guy
true.
in my neighborhood, and he goes by David. He doesn't go by Dave.
Oh,
I've even met a David that went by Vid, which I
really?
thought was interesting.
That's
It's
interesting.
kind of like the
Yep.
Liam of William, just taking the last half.
Vid.
Yeah.
Topher of Christopher, like that. Vid.
Sounds like COVID.
Let me see. This is my co-host Vid.
Yeah, it doesn't flow. And Vid of our lives doesn't flow very well either. I think the Daves of our lives is a much better fit.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave, what other questions do you have? What else do you want to know about Dave? I want to know. Are you still working out? You still do CrossFit? Or do you do other things? Mountain bike?
I don't do CrossFit anymore because I basically built my own CrossFit gym in my house.
Oh, awesome. Good.
So I don't, but I kind of do. Here's what I realized with CrossFit. I get hurt too much, which I didn't like. And I liked the workouts, but I didn't like getting hurt.
Yeah.
And also I remember one summer, I didn't go mountain biking the whole summer because I was doing CrossFit.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, I'm never doing that again.
You don't want that.
It just took me away from doing the activities that I like to do. So
Because you were
I still
hurt,
like the workouts.
or
What?
because you were hurt all the time from CrossFit, you didn't feel like
No,
going
no,
mountain
that was
biking, or
just
just
because
time.
when you drink the Kool-Aid, you're like
That's
all
right.
in, and you miss out on these other activities like mountain biking. And so you gotta. It takes some discipline, and it's weird to say this, but it takes discipline to be able to do your hobbies outside of CrossFit.
Is CrossFit a cult?
That's
It's
right.
totally a cult. You don't show up to the WOD and people are like, "Oh, we missed you on Thursday. Where were you?"
Right.
It's totally a
Yeah.
cult.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So yeah, I still do hits, here and there, but like, I don't know. I think that was the one thing that I didn't like was it just took me away from, and CrossFit's not the only one. Now there's lots of them out there.
Yeah.
Similar cults and
Orange
I'm just like,
Theory.
I yeah, exactly.
Bro.
All of them.
No,
So,
Zumba.
I still like the
Zumba?
workouts. I just want to be able to do other stuff too.
Yeah.
And I know
I'm the
myself
same.
well enough that if I'm like committed and I'm just going, I'm just going to keep going because it's working.
Yep.
And then it's like, I don't want to pull myself. It would be hard to pull myself away to go do the other things that I like to do.
Yeah. That's what I
You
mean.
gotta
You need to
do-
discipline yourself to be able to do your hobbies
Yeah.
and get away from the community.
CrossFit, you just do it during the down season on the other things. Because you might probably not mountain biking like
If
during
you
the
if
winter.
you snowboard or you ski,
Oh, he's got year-round stuff.
yeah,
going on.
if
Never
you're in
mind,
the
there's no
mountains in the
downtime.
winter and you're in the mountains in the summer, there's no off season for you. You're skiing or snowboarding in the winter. You're mountain biking in the summer, hiking, whatever. You have to like limit
Yeah.
your time exposure to CrossFit if you want to be able to do those things. Especially if you're going to like a
And
box.
And when I started CrossFit, I was basically running and biking and lifting. Like I was running, probably 3 to 5 miles a day, and I was like high intensity workouts. So when I started CrossFit, I was like, man, this is the best of both worlds. You know, I can get a really good workout, and I can lift at the same time. I was like, and there's competition. I remember trying to beat like 19-year-old kids. I'm like,
such a bad idea.
killing myself. I'm like, I'm faster than these guys. Like, why?
To get hurt.
Just pride. Just the
Yeah.
pride. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pride. It's totally pride.
Well, I'm glad that you're still working out, and I'm glad you found a balance
Yeah.
between that and your actual hobbies.
Yeah, me too.
No, I drank the Kool-Aid hard, man. I was running some of the classes. Like I taught the
You were
Olympic lifts.
coaching, Dave.
Yeah, I was instructing. I got a USA weightlifting coaching certification, so I was certified to teach the Olympic lifts and to program strength for Olympic lifting. And so it was like that was my hobby. I didn't know mountain biking back then, by the way. Mountain biking was new as of 2017. And so that once I got my first taste of a real mountain bike ride, that was like that sold me on it. So
feels like those old commercials where it's like, I'm not just the owner, I'm a user too. I'm a customer too. Like Dave.
Yep.
I got real deep into it.
No, I did.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because I mean, it's kind of like going to work, when you go to CrossFit and you think, oh, these are all my friends. And you're like, yeah, kind of, maybe a few people, but a lot of are just people that are at the gym, just like you'd go to the gym and see other people at the gym, It's like Dave didn't even remember who I was, right?
Right, exactly.
We were close. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, we sweated. We had that shared suffering.
Yeah. He's like, how are your children? I remember their names, their birthdays.
With some people, right? I still am in contact with Bruce and Enoch because we're in the guard together. So
yeah, I love Enoch and Bruce. Yeah, I miss those guys.
They're good guys. They're still around. But I think Bruce, same thing. He just set up his own gym. They sold Wasatch to somebody else, and now it's been sold again to somebody else. So yeah, it feels like a community.
Doesn't surprise me. I think they were doing it to make money, and they realized like they're not going to make a whole lot of money.
They didn't make money.
That gym.
No, they didn't. Which is why they both went full time to working.
Gym business is a hard business. I sold fitness equipment commercially for 3 years, and that is a hard. I would say that most gyms are not making money because of the gym. If they buy the real estate around them and they develop it, the gym brings people to the area. They make money off of those.
Yeah.
The gym itself is just there.
One of my favorite gyms of all time was right across from the bowling alley in Brigham City. I think they moved it to Perry now, but it was called the Body Shop.
Oh yeah. I think it's actually in Willard.
No, they moved back, I thought. No, it's in Willard.
No, it's in Willard. It's further south.
It's Perry still.
Is that Perry?
Okay. Willard. It might be Willard.
It's south.
But I love that place because I could just go in just with a code on the door, right?
Yep.
It wasn't electronic or anything. Just punch it in, and I go in there, and nobody was in there. Like, maybe one person. And I could just do whatever I wanted to do. Like it was my favorite.
So
just because I don't necessarily go to the gym to look at people. It's like everybody likes going to the gym to.
I got to get my workout in. That's it. Let me get my workout in and bounce. Yeah. So I think there is a gym across. I want to say from the bowling alley. It's on 600 North. It's called Concrete Fitness. There's that one, which is you just get a key fob and it's 24/7 access and you do whatever you want. It's usually pretty empty depending on when you go. But then there's also another one in town called Beehive Fitness, which is pretty similar.
That was pretty busy by the DI.
It is more busy. But
my wife and I like to go to.
When I was in high school, that was the
Body Shop was it. That was probably the only one that was available. Yeah, maybe
there was a couple other. Well,
Physiques is still around. If Physiques was there,
no, Physiques wasn't.
Physiques. Okay.
There was one. I think there was one other one besides like the natatorium, but
the natatorium.
So the Physiques, the guy that owned it is named Clyde, and I'm selling fitness equipment, right? And I went to him and I said, "Hey, you don't have like a lot of really nice treadmills. I have a very reasonably priced treadmill from this company." And I said, "Can I bring the treadmill here? Can I demo it? And if you like it, you'll buy it." And he said, "Yeah, sure." So I dropped it off. We set it up. I put like a little sign up at the front, like, "Hey, here's this treadmill. Here's the features." Like there's like a sign on the treadmill that says this is here on demo. Let the owner know if you like it. So after the 2-week trial, he calls me up. He goes, "Dave, I got a problem." I go, "What's the problem?" He said, "Everybody really likes this treadmill, but I don't want to buy it." He was so cheap. And I was like, "Clyde, the deal was if you liked it, you buy it. Well, I didn't think anybody would like it." I said, "Well, I got to take it. I'm going to have to repossess it, man."
So you became a repo man.
Oh,
I became a repo man of treadmills. But he was I think he lived in the house right next door to the Physiques on Main
one with
Street.
the sailboat?
Maybe. I don't know. He was an interesting guy.
Okay.
And then there's another physiques. It was Tony that owned that one. Now it's
owned by
Jeremiah.
Dr. Hoops.
Yeah, Dr. Hoops
Jeremiah
owns
Hoops.
that one. Which he owns physiques also.
Yes.
Or wait, what is the one that Dr. Hoops owns? But he
owns physiques.
What's the one on Main Street?
Physiques.
No, it used to be
There's
called
physiques
something
on Main.
else.
Anyway,
It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Dave, here I've got a question for you, and I asked our last guest this. What would you say your legacy is? What do you want to leave for future generations?
I don't know that I really care. I just want my kids to be happy and to understand how to go through life and not be miserable, right? Like, I don't really care if people remember me. Like, if you think of the people in the world, like, how many people are actually remembered that have lived on the earth? Not many, you know? So I don't know that it really matters if I leave anything other than, you know, my kids who know how to take care of their kids and be happy and, you know, live a good life. You know, me leaving stuff, who cares? That doesn't matter. That's how I look at it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like there is something to be left, even if it is just good habits and, you know, good contributing members of society and kids that know how to treat other people. I think that's like, what more can you ask for to leave
that's
to the
it.
next
Like,
generation? Yeah.
Just kids that good members of society, you know, they love God and they know how to treat people well. And that's pretty much it. Because after their kids, you know, nobody will remember who I am.
Right.
That's fine.
Right. I have a follow-up, less serious.
Well, let me ask this one.
Okay. All right. I've got one. I do have one more.
I think this is this one. Because I thought you were going to ask this one.
Are you going to ask it?
I'm going to ask it.
Okay, you're taking my question.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Dave. It's Dave's question now.
It's always Dave's.
Dave's always right, too. If there was a movie about you, who would you pick to play you in the movie?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea. I've never thought about that.
At least you thought about it.
As far as personality-wise or looks-wise?
Personality doesn't matter because they're an actor.
Yeah,
they'll match your personality. But somebody that you think looks enough like you that you would be like, yeah, I'd like to see that person portraying me in
someone
my life.
that looks better than you on screen.
Who looks better with their shirt off?
I don't know about now, but my wife used to tell me that she thought, do you remember Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy who's the sniper in Saving Private Ryan?
Oh,
I don't know his name.
Yep. I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't remember his name either.
So I guess
Dave's
it would be
gonna look it
him because she's, you know, my wife thought she looked a lot like me.
Yep.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah. I could see that. Who else? Thoughts, Dave?
Well, we can ask the awkward question that we asked last time, which is, who would play your love interest?
Oh, yeah. Who would play your wife in it?
Don't worry, she won't listen to this.
That's a good question.
She might.
That's okay. I don't know. There's certain actresses that look like my wife. Trying to think of who that would. I don't know. I don't know who that would be. I know I thought about, oh yeah, she looks a lot like my wife before, but I don't remember who they are. Sorry, I don't have a good answer for you on that.
That's
one.
okay.
That's okay.
Did you find his name?
Leo Stratsky.
Leo Stratsky
is who played the sniper,
yeah.
And I can see that.
I could totally see that.
Yeah,
you could be.
I mean, she told me that 10 years ago, so.
Well, yeah, you haven't aged in the last 10 years, so it's fine. Dave, on the other hand,
most people think I'm younger. Yeah,
same. I did a couple weeks ago. Someone guessed 27 for me.
Wow,
which I find.
I used to get that when I was in my 30s, or when I started that company. I remember I go to trade shows and I was was 25 at the
Like,
time.
why would we invest in
They'd be
your
like,
girlfriend?
how old are you? Like, are you 17? And it used to bother me, but I don't care anymore.
It's a compliment now.
Here's the thing with the good Asian genes. Is it true that you're just going to look like you're 25 and then one day you're going to wake up and look like you're 100?
As soon as my hair goes white, then people will start to think that I'm my age.
Just wondering, is it like a sudden drop off?
Last time my mom was visiting, I looked at her and I was like, she still looks so young. She's 62. If her hair was black, she could pass for 40s easily. So
it's just the hair going white. That's it.
As soon as the hair goes white, yep, 65. Well,
that's funny.
Dave, thank you so much for making time for us.
Yeah.
And jumping on the Daves of our lives. If you know of any other
I
Daves,
like the name.
yeah, we've gotten good feedback just on the name itself. So if you know of any other Daves that might want to be on, or if you want to submit an anonymous post on the subreddit about a Dave you know, feel free. Let me know yeah.
I mean, I've got friends that are Daves.
Oh yeah.
One of them grew up in Brigham City, so you can,
really.
in
That'd
fact,
be perfect.
he lives in Perry now, and he moved to Alaska for like 20 years and just moved back. So.
Oh yeah, put us in contact. That'd be easy. That'd be an easy interview. One last thing before we let you go, Dave. We have these mugs that were made by one of our other Daves. It's got our logo on it. It's engraved. We want to send you one as a thank you for being a guest on our podcast.
Cool. Sounds good.
So just give us your address.
Memorabilia.
We totally won't stalk you, but if you give us your address,
just text
we either mail it or we'll
Sounds
just
good.
drop by and doorbell ditch it.
We need to deliver others.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any final thoughts, Dave?
No, this has been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Finance is fun. Children, finance is fun. Is there any last words you would like to say?
No. Thanks for having me. I like hearing about other Daves. Hopefully, there are people listening to us other than Daves.
There are a few.
I don't think it's the only requirement is your name is Dave to be on the podcast, but we don't have that requirement for the listener.
True. Okay. Well,
sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Like sands through an hourglass, these have been the Daves of our lives.